see a lost soul, searching in a haze, complete with goals. We all feel and play, try to regain a sense of self that we had when we were that much younger. Aiming for passion that drove us like hunger. Reason found its way to outweigh. We convey the things we thought important in life, living day to day.
So I made it to Norwich. I've been here before, created one of my favourite songs here, Soul Whale. So this tattoo was carved into my thumb with a safety pin. And if you didn't know, I have Tourette's. When I was staying here was the time that my Tourette's was pretty explosivo. There was a time in the market square where I was with my friend Swift. And I just bought a banana. Tourette's, and the banana ended up on the other side of the market. He remembers that to this day. Might have made this quite strong. Welcome to Norwich, a city that has a very rich history in different ways to a lot of England. Now, the Romans liked straight roads, so they just kind of went north. Where it is closer to the west, we had a lot of influence from different parts of Europe that don't necessarily align with the history in other cities of those parts of Europe. Norwich received its city status in 1194, and although I have previously said that Birmingham was England's second city, there was a period of time where it was actually Norwich. We go to York very soon, and I know that that was also England's capital city, going right back to the time of King Harold, who died when he was playing I Spy. Something beginning with ah! Over the years, Norwich has evolved from a medieval market town that's had its ups and downs, as most cities tend to do. The plague really hit Norwich a little bit harder than other places, and also the enclosure rebellions. Now, this is an interesting one, the enclosure rebellions, because land ownership is something that we still have issues with today. The landlords, the lords of the land, are invariably the ones who end up with all the money in their back pockets. In this situation, we still had peasants that were going around with their animals looking for places to graze and raise the animals, and the landowners started to fence off the areas that they chose as theirs, meaning that the general public had nowhere to raise their livestock, and were just sort of being penned out, whilst the rich were like, but I might want to play croquet. I need the lawn for me. Fuck off. Of course. There was a rebellion. So the peasants made their revolt on the 8th of July in 1549 when they stormed Norwich in protest. But London had heard about what was going on and sent up the Earl of Warwick to quash the rebellion, and the Battle of Dussindale ensued and the royalists won. The peasants were battered down and the landlords, as per usual, got what they wanted. Nothing ever changes, just the names and faces. Now, the leader of the rebels was one Robert Kett. He was captured. He was taken back to London and held in the Tower of London, where he was then tried, found guilty of treason, taken back to Norwich, and was hanged on the outside walls of the castle. I paid a visit to the castle. This is quite cool. Just to get to the castle, I hired a bike. I rode all around it trying to find the entrance. Finally found the entrance, and now it's like walking across where the old moat would be. Riding in on a horse up to the castle gates. I bring a message. England is not lost. The castle is closed. I was not granted an audience with the king. The message have to go unheard for now. So it was the Nobly Normans that built this castle. Looks to me like a Motte and Bailey castle, where you have the moat around and then the bailey over the top. You can of course then observe the surrounding areas. Interestingly, in the castle there are these dungeons, which I didn't get to see. In the dungeons there is said to be the face masks of prisoners from the 19th century that were taken because the study of phrenology at that time was, he was a criminal. Must be the shape of his skull. Yeah, so we're on to something here. Holmes, Watson. Some of them were made after the deaths, so they're pretty macabre faces. James Bloomfield Rush was one specific chap who tried to plead insanity for murder. It didn't work. He was tried, he was sentenced to death, hanged he was, and then his cast was made. So, you imagine that death mask being sent to London to be studied to see why you're a criminal. Madness. And this was only a couple hundred years ago, so we can't have advanced that much. So we're probably still pretty stupid as the human race. Interestingly, Norwich is also the one of two cities in England, the other being Liverpool, that has two cathedrals. One Catholic, one Protestant. Both very beautiful, but churches is something that we can talk about with Norwich. Oh, yes. It is said here that at one point there was enough pubs for every day of the year and enough churches for every Sunday of the year. And it struck me as you looked at the older churches, the sparseness of it. There's no grandiose element, one lovely stained glass window, how earnest and honest they were. And here we have Anthony Barnes, who was a church conservationist. You can see the work that he put in over the course of his life. And in this specific church, there was a remembrance to him. I found the gravestone of Anne Brown. It's the earliest gravestone I've seen on the tour, dating back to 1713. And it's that time of year. That kind of green, the gardens. It just caused me to take a breath. Having so many churches, hearing all of the church bells. When I was living in the Middle East, you'd hear the call to prayer every day at different times, and every day there was a different call to prayer, and it became, I don't know, something I got quite used to. But whether I believe in this God or that God, or no God, the process of hearing this call to prayer every day at least made me stop in my tracks and think about the message of God, which would be to treat others as you wish to be treated, as one of the first commandments. And I always utilised the time when I heard that to think if I was doing the best I could for other people. So whether you believe in God or not, I was daily brought into a time where I think about other people and try to do better. I found the same kind of feeling in Norwich by constantly hearing the church bells. It makes you think about at least the message. The point being, you think about it and become conscious of an intention that is positive for other people in a peaceful way. So, well done Norwich for that, for me. I would like to have shown you a lot of this stuff in reality, but I did come a cropper with trying to visit the places of interest that I find the information from. The Museum of Norwich is also shut. Explore one of the oldest and most fascinating buildings in Norwich, dating back to 1320. It looks fun, it looks shut. Norwich stage door time, here we go. There we go, so I'm guessing down there. Ah, here. Oh, but it's open. I'll be 7. Up, lovely, thank you. Got the pins out. Oh, this is going to be nice and warm. Ooh, very nice though. And the sofa. I think I'll go here. First show down in Norwich. Undeterred, I strike forth for the Cathedral. We have one chance left. One
ring to rule them all.
One chance to actually show something grand and exciting. We have our first sighting in the distance. What an organ. Confucius says, "Man who fart in church, sit in his own pew." I look to my right and I'm suddenly on the set of Harry Potter. If you know the films, you know which corridor that is. And who would have guessed? The guy who invented parsley's buried here. Sing Hosanna, sing Hosanna to the King. Always goes so quick. How was it the interval of the last show of the week in Norwich already? Dumbfounded. Look, Ben's all cleared up, ready to go. Whew. Time really is relative, isn't it? Oh, I hear someone. Here he is. You happy? Pertinent end. Church. Park. The sunshine. It's been a very peaceful time in Norwich. Enjoyed it very much. On to Edinburgh now, which is quite exciting. I've just shampooed my beard. It's looking quite the thing, isn't it? What will it be like in September?